This year has been crazy busy in the bee yard.
Like, look at them. These hives are so productive. They make me so happy how productive these hives are. I am mind blown.
So,
but like, see how fat this is? Like, woo-wee. That is beautiful. We are definitely on the flow right now.
But when I decided to go from a hobbyist to a sideline beekeeper this year, I knew it wasn't gonna be an easy feat. But as if life was listening, I met the best partner a girl could ask for that had the same love and passion for bees that I did.
3, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. 51 cells.
We've been growing our yard fast this year, and thanks to you, we made our first big nuke sale to get the bees that we love and care about so much into your hands. So as we're starting to near bee winter, we decided to take a mini vacay to celebrate the year we've had thus far. But in the meantime, I think we were the only ones that decided to take vacation, because it looks like we may have a little bit of a problem in the bee yard on our hands. Every time I walk up this hill, it's always so hard to breathe. Oh my gosh. I need to get back into shape, y'all. Okay, so we need to sit down and talk for a minute and catch up because I feel like it's been a minute. Casey and I went on vacation the last week, so sorry I missed the video there. But we went to something called Electric Forest up in Rothbury, Michigan. And if you've ever heard of it, it's a 4-day music festival, but it's not necessarily about the music. It's more about the spiritual experience that you have there and connecting with people. Because, like, it is seriously a place that, like, imagine walking into a place where everybody is just trying to be happy and everyone is just trying to make the person next to them happy. It literally is a magical place, and everything just makes sense in a forest kind of way. If you've ever been, then you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. The forest provides, that is for sure. But since then, the bees have been growing and growing and growing and growing. Which means we're a teensy little bit behind on bee work. And I see I have a couple hives over here that I'm a little nervous to look into because I really hope they didn't start swarm preparations during that time. So yeah, so we're gonna dig into those today. But a really important day in beekeeping just happened last week, and that was on June 21st was the summer solstice. So this means, guys, it is now winter time in the beekeeping world, which sounds so crazy for July. But it's true because the bees work off of the sun. So now the days are getting shorter instead of getting longer. So now the bees are starting to prepare for winter. So keeping that in mind, now it's time that all of us need to start thinking about how are we going to prepare our hives for winter. I posted a couple videos about this, so make sure you go check them out because they will definitely help you with what you need to do this month and how you should do brood breaks and treat for mites and, like, you know, all that jazzy stuff. Oh, and to update you guys, so since the raccoon incident, we have now caught 4 raccoons. Yes, 4 of them. But I think we ended up catching the entire family because we haven't had any problems since, and we haven't had any of them come back. We still do have a trap set up over here just in case, and we have one set over here in the weeds there as well. But so far we haven't had any issues, and everything's been going great and a-okay. And we have these beautiful 6 hive pallets that Casey made that we're going to be overwintering with because, yes, we are going to be overwintering in double-story 5-frame nukes, which we're going to be breaking all of our hives down and putting them in these very soon. These will have bees in them, but we have a lot of building to do, to be honest. We have a bunch of wood that we need to start cutting and whatnot. That is something that Casey is amazing at, so hopefully we'll get some videos of that very soon. So yeah, thank you to everybody that gave tips for how to catch the raccoon. Those traps worked really well. We ended up putting a dish of like honey and sugar water in there. And we had to like hang it off of that table that we have sitting over there. Otherwise they would just tip it over and then lick out all the liquid that would spill, because raccoons are smart. So we have it hanging off the table so they couldn't tip it over, and we strapped it down. So the only way they could get it is if they went in the cage, and it worked. So thank you again for everybody who left tips. It helped out a ton. Now the reason why I'm nervous is because I came out here today, and this hive, as you can see, is a giant hive, and I've been pushing it and pushing its limits so that it builds up and gets as strong as possible. Well, during that week time vacation, I really hope they didn't start making queen cells, because this could just be typical bearding, or this could be them wanting to swarm. If I caught it in time, I could take their queen. But so we're gonna go into this hive, we're gonna check to see what's going on first, because they're just hanging off on the bottom here. Usually they hang up here too, but it also is really humid today, so that also could be a factor. All right, and I'm definitely gonna smoke them today, because so I've had a couple of people ask, why is there no honey coming in? Why aren't any of my bees building up their supers? And the reason for this is because we've been going through a little bit of a dearth lately, and on top of that, we've also been getting, up here in Michigan, we've been getting some wildfire smoke coming down from Canada, and it's been making the air very smoky, and as a result, this is making the bees not too happy either. And there's not many flowers blooming, there's been a drought, so there's a lot that's been going on in the environment right now, so the bees have not been the happiest. But if you haven't seen honey coming in, this would be why. We've been really needing some rain lately, and we got a little bit the other day, but it wasn't enough to really make that big of a difference. So your bees might be a little bit grumpy, and if they are, just remember that it's not because the bees are grumpy, the genetics are grumpy, it's because they're just grumpy because they're hangry. Which I think that could be pretty relatable. But so yeah, we're gonna find out if they're trying to swarm on us. They're producing a decent amount of honey up here, which is great to see. I'm going to put that back there. This has been like the first like humid day we've gotten. Like just standing out here, I'm already pretty much wet. Which has been weird. Like this year has been really cold. How has it been in all the other states, guys? Because like up here in Michigan, we usually have a much warmer summer than we've been having lately. And I don't know if it's just because of our area or if everyone else is noticing it too, but yeah. We're gonna be taking our honey off here very, very soon, actually in a couple days. So that's gonna be fun. Gonna be extracting a lot the next couple days. Uh-oh, got a cup down here. Nothing in it, so that's good. Just gonna set this here. Hope you guys see a little things. I mean, it looks like the flow is kicked down a little bit again. Nothing in comparison to what it was, but they are starting to bring in some nectar, which is also promising to see. It's probably because we got that little bit of rain, helped some of those flowers start to bloom again. So that's good. Alright, so she's got a little bit of brood up here. Nothing crazy. Oh yeah, no, they must be hitting the flow again because they're bringing in some decent amounts of honey. That makes me happy because before vacation, when I was looking through here, I was like, oh my gosh, they have nothing coming in. So that's good. Which actually, uh-oh, we got some eggs in some cups over here. Yep. They're wanting to swarm.
Hey.
They just started, just now. Because there's one egg right here, and then there's some royal jelly in that other one. So I'm gonna have to make a artificial swarm for her. Yeah, we got some eggs in those. So I'm gonna have to take her out and put her in a nuke so I don't lose her, which is fine. And then I'll leave them to make their own queen, do as they please. They'll make a ton of queen cells that we can then utilize to make more splits as we break all these hives down. So that will be nice. Yeah, we got some beautiful frames of honey that we're gonna be taking out. Okay, so they haven't made her lay yet. Yeah, they're backfilling cells. That's awesome to see. She hasn't laid all of these queen cells yet. So this is actually the perfect timing because they're about to make these, but they haven't quite made them yet.
This is when I decided to make a new plan for this hive. So since I was seeing that she had not yet laid in all of the swarm cells, I was thinking, okay, what is the best way to get as many queens as possible and have them be as strong as possible? And something that I saw this last spring is to simulate or make the hive start swarm preparations, and right before that queen would normally leave, which would be right before all of the cells are capped, take that queen out and put her in an artificial swarm, put her in a nuke box, and then wait until those queen cells have been finished being capped, because they need to be in a strong hive before you move them so that they develop properly and are really strong. And at that point, you would have like 30 cells in that hive, especially with this hive being so big, so that I can make many, many splits off of that. So I decided to go with this method instead.
So I might leave them for a couple days because the queen won't leave until the cells are capped. So if I can get them to make a ton of really strong swarm cells and then move the queen, I will get a ton of queens out of it. Oh yeah, you see all that nectar falling out? I'll get a ton of queens out of it while also keeping the queen and moving her somewhere else. So she's not quite skinny enough to fly yet. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but the more you beekeep, the more you'll be able to see it. And she is, where'd she go? There she is. She's hanging out in the bottom. Okay, you see right there in the bottom? So she is not quite the size yet that she's gonna swarm. She's still kind of big, she's still laying. And what they end up doing before they swarm is they will starve her so that she can fly, because right now her body weight's too big for her to carry it. So right now she's laying her last eggs before she fully gets ready, which means I'm gonna have to move her in probably like 2 or 3 days, probably 2 days. And that will be the prime time when these cells will have eggs in them and be ready. So I actually saw this at the perfect moment, because now I can really make a killing off this hive in terms of I'll be able to take away all the swarm cells they make and make splits with them, because I was gonna break this hive down anyways into a 5-frame nuke, well, multiple 5-frame nukes since it's so big. And like I said, now's the time we're gonna take our honey too, so everything's going exactly according to plan, and we'll get some extra queens out of it. So I'm gonna let her keep doing her thing. I'm gonna let her lay some more eggs. I kind of wish I didn't kill that one, but that's okay. She'll probably go back up there and lay. They'll make her do that. But so yeah, they're probably just getting ready. They're probably preparing. They're probably getting outside the hive, looking around, seeing where they're gonna go, start making a plan, because they've already started that swarm response since we saw that egg and we see all of that royal jelly in the queen cups. Once you see that, you betcha your hive is gonna leave, or you betcha your queen is gonna leave, no matter what. The only way you get to actually keep her is if you move her into another box. So keep that in mind. Like, this hive is stupid strong. That's the 3rd box. The 4th box has bees in it. We have bees in this box, bees in the bottom box, bees hanging outside the box, brood all over. Yeah, we did good on this one. Okay, so we have one more hive we need to look in before we call it a day. And that is this one over here that is also bearding. Need to see what they're doing in terms of if they're making any cups or not, so we can prepare that way. I just condensed these down into a box, and when I did that, they exploded because they didn't really have enough bees to maintain the 2 boxes, and then within 2 weeks they built up so fast. So that's why I keep saying, like, bees perform better in a smaller space. So if you feel like your hive is a little weak, condense them down, remove 1 box, and literally in 2 weeks you'll be adding another box. Just playing off of the way they like things and the way they work. Lots of brood. Last time I was in here, this hive was decked out with brood on brood on brood. So I wouldn't mind if we create a swarm response to some of these because, like I said, we are breaking some hives down. So that swarm response will just help us be able to have more queens to do that anyways. Just everything is working off of timing with bees. That is the most important part. These bees have swarmed once this year, so they might not be more liable to swarm. I accidentally missed them on that one, so I lost her. But the hive we were just in over there has not swarmed once. That's why she's so big. So they're gonna have a really strong swarm response, and in fact, they're probably gonna make a lot of swarm cells because of that. Oh, but it looks like that don't make a difference because we have some cups down here. Nothing in them yet, but there will be some in them soon. With how many bees are in this hive and bearding on the outside, I guarantee it. They will be starting a swarm response very soon, especially when you see those cups. It's when you see a lot of bees. Like, it's pretty much uniform with how bees decide to swarm. And as you beekeep, you'll begin to notice this, but when you go into a hive and you see at least half the frames in the hive are all capped brood, that is the first stage. If you then don't do anything and you leave it and you let all that brood hatch out, they will then make queen cups. That is stage 2. If you then still don't do anything and don't add any room, then they're going to start that initial swarm response and they're going to start laying eggs in those swarm cells. At that point, you are just SOL. You need to move that queen once those queen cells have developed into larvae. Don't wait until they're capped, because it's when they're capped that the queen is going to then, she's then gonna swarm. It's the day they're capped that she leaves, or the day before. So that way she doesn't go around and sting them, because she won't sting them when they're larvae. She'll only sting them when they're capped. So that is the pretty much, those are the steps that they go through when they start that. So if you catch it on the first time that you see all of that brood, that calf brood, that's how you know, okay, all this brood's about to hatch, which means this hive's gonna triple in size, which also means they're gonna have too many bees and not enough space, so that would mean you need to add space. And they even have a super procedure cell or emergency cell up here prepared, so yeah. They're going to prepare to swarm very soon, but I'm going to let them keep doing their thing because, like I said, we have some nuke boxes on the way. So we're going to be doing a lot of splits very soon since we're breaking everything down into 5-frame nukes to overwinter in. I think this one was over here. Yeah, so, yep, I'm going to let them keep doing what they're doing. And I'm gonna come back in a couple days. But just remember, when this starts happening, timing is everything. You can't be late, otherwise you'll lose a queen. Ooh, I bet you these guys are preparing to swarm too. Oh, shoot. Oh, man. This is what I'm talking about. When you open up a hive and it looks like this, like, oh yeah, they're strong. Now I'm gonna show you guys an example of a hive that we actually, did we lose a queen yet? I don't think we, no, we didn't. No, we did lose the queen. Sorry, we just looked in this yesterday. So this is a hive that did swarm on us while we were gone. And the reason we know this is because we opened it and we saw capped swarm cells, which that's exactly how you know they swarm. But they only lost their original queen. They haven't lost any of these cells yet, so we're waiting, we're timing these out for roughly around when they're going to hatch. And the way that we know this is we did open up one of the cells and we saw that she was still in the red eye stage, which means she still has another 2 or 3 days. So we're gonna try catching the queens as they come out. But here, let me prop you up on something. So it was this middle frame. Be careful, I don't accidentally. But yeah, she was still in the red eye stage, so they just capped these. You can see them. Down here, see those over there? We got one over here, it's kind of hard to see, but like I keep saying, if you guys stick with beekeeping, all of you new beekeepers, you'll begin to learn that timing is everything, and timing dictates your success on everything when it comes to beekeeping. And if you're patient with yourself, this is something that you will end up learning. The more you pay attention to your bees, the more you try things, the more you watch them, the more you see what happens with them. So don't give up. Keep going. You will continue to keep learning, and as you learn more, you'll become a really good beekeeper, and eventually you'll have a really good success rate when it comes to overwintering, and it will all get better, because I know your first couple years of beekeeping can be kind of hard. And just remember though, like, you're never going to be good at something you start for the very first time. You're never going to be a pro right off the bat. And in all honesty, it wouldn't be fair if you were anyways, because then what's the even point of doing it, because there's nothing for you to work towards. So if you're kind of questioning your beekeeping skills today, just know we've all been there. I've had so many days where I just sit there and stare at my hives. I'm just like, oh my gosh, do I even know what I'm doing? But trust me, that's something that goes with time as you keep doing it and as you keep learning. So yeah, but all right, that's it from me today. I'm gonna call it a day at that. It's really hot and humid and muggy and just smoky and blah. So watch for the video on that. I'm gonna have a video out about the timing, and I'm gonna show you guys what happens to these hives when I come back in a couple days to move the queen and whatnot. So I'll see you guys then. See you later.